Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Want to just note, this morning is the 28th year that we have joined together in person to honor youth sports volunteers in Cambridge. 28 years in this hotel. So thank you all for keeping this going. It's such an important event. The first thing I want to do is have a moment of silence, recognizing past honorees that have passed away. So if you could, just bow your heads, and I want everyone to, we all are familiar with some of the honorees that we've lost, so feel free to keep them in your hearts and prayers right now. I want to call out Paul Ryder, Mike Brennan, and Bill Hill, and I'm sure you can think of others, so if we could have a moment of silence for those folks now. Thank you. As we start the breakfast, I just want to recognize past honorees. Don't be shy. All past honorees, I want you to stand up so we can give you a round of applause. Welcome to the 28th annual Galluccio Associates breakfast. Thank you all for being here. And now I'd like to introduce my good friend, former assistant to the mayor of Cambridge, Phaedra Butler, who's going to start our morning with the national anthem. Phaedra Butler. Oh, the land of the free and the home of brave.
Wow, truer words were never spoken. I have no idea why I'm here. I have nothing inspirational to say. I don't usually get up this early, and I am amazed at what goes on at this time of the day. I saw people exercising. They were outside exercising at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's mental illness as far as I'm concerned. There's no need to get up before noon. None whatsoever. Nothing good ever happens in the morning. I also got to say this. As I age, and I am aging, I don't even know if I'm getting old right, because this is as old as I've ever been. Let me ask you this. I'll ask the old people this one. Anyone got the thing now when you start to sit down and the last 4 inches is free fall? Yeah, that's not a red letter day in a human's life. When you can't control your rate of sitting, you got troubles. I thank you for having me. Again, I don't know why, and don't lollygag. Thank you.
We all remember Paul Ryder, and Paul Ryder was more than a supporter of the game. If you don't know the story, and a lot of you have been to our game, in 1994, during the baseball players' strike, there was no baseball going on. I'm on WEEI, being the typical barking, loudmouth talk guy, and I kept saying, well, screw Major League Baseball. If they don't want to play, let's just get a bunch of people and play a game on our own. And it was just a line. It was just something to say. Call in now, 617-262, whatever. And then a couple of people call and say, hey, if you had a game, I'd play in it. Next caller is Paul from Cambridge, and it's Paul Ryder. And Paul Ryder says, if you want to have a game, we will make St. Peter's Field and Cambridge available. And then the phone lines lit up. Everyone's calling in to say, I'll pay $50 to play second base. I'll pay $100 if I can pitch 1 inning. And it was supposed to be a one-shot deal. And then Paul said, well, we can give you the field next year. And we've been doing it now for 30 years, all because Paul Ryder had the wherewithal driving through Cambridge, had an idea. And people always say, well, who came up with the game? It's so many different chefs are in the kitchen, but the chef who provided the kitchen was Paul Ryder.
This person has become a friend of mine, and I've gotten to know his story by talking about sports and family. He grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire, got a scholarship to Lawrence Academy, where he lived away, tough experience. He's been a resource for us when we have students that I want him to talk to. Then he got a scholarship to Georgetown to play football. Now he is one of the most prominent folks in commercial real estate in the area. And he's a phenomenal, down-to-earth, humble guy. I wanted him to meet you today because Kelvin Moses, to me, is an absolute gem. Kelvin, come on up.
On our team, internally, we hire athletes all day. My team is a bunch of athletes because I want folks that know how to lose. I want folks that know that we got to win tomorrow. It's not about yesterday. You got to leave that behind. You got to win tomorrow. So we try very hard to translate a lot of what we, can't understand in the corporate world into a sports analogy so we can make sense of it. It's funny how many people understand sports but don't understand, basic human interactions in an office. Sports really helps. It really helps. And I think just like family, right? My oldest brother used to pick on me a lot. I didn't get to choose him. I know he loves me, but he used to pick on me a lot. And you learn how to manage through that, right? Similarly, when you're on a sports team, someone shows up, Galluccio brings a new player in, you didn't get to choose them. Now that's your teammate. You got to figure out how to integrate them. You got to figure out how to identify their best strengths, how to pull out the best out of them so that you can win. And that cohesion amongst players, that cohesion amongst peers, creating that connections, that's what allows you to win every day.
It's a pleasure to see everybody out here supporting not only the young people, but the people who support young people. One thing I wanted to say, and unfortunately Tony left, but can the Dillon boys stand up again, please? The Dillon men. Because I'm 100% sure that the people that he saw working out at 9 a.m. this morning were these two. And one thing that Anthony didn't mention, but I want to mention is both, not only are they public safety, they're firefighters in the city, but they both, coming from Jefferson Park, not only got their bachelor's degrees, but also both recently attained their master's. So I want to give it a round of applause. It is with pleasure that I get to introduce my friend, Lula Emanuel. And I wanna just say a little bit about her. Back in 2008, when I was starting a basketball league in North Cambridge, because there was a lot of violence in the city back and forth, and kids were getting shot. And we went to the city, and the city allowed us to do a late night basketball league. And it's something the kids actually asked for. When we went to the housing developments of the kids that were involved, they said, we haven't had a basketball league in 6 years. We can't go to the other side of the city because there's always drama. So we were left without a basketball league in North Cambridge. Well, we got that going. Michelle Farnham, Paul Ryder, Bobby Goodwin, we had a lot of support in the city, and my people from the police department, my higher-ups also said, all right, let's give it a go. And we started the Night Court Basketball League. And one of the most important people to that league was Lula Emanuel.
For starters, I'd also like to say thank you to those of my family and friends who have came from near and far. Some had a busy week at work, some swapped shifts to be here today, so I'd like to say thank you as well. I'm honored to be recognized for this award. Scary to say, it's like nearly a decade now that I've been a part of just a lot of programs here in the city. For those I've been a part of and for those that I volunteered, just over those 10 years, I've been just like you recipients sitting in that seat. I won't be the first who gets recognized being a volunteer, but I won't be the last also. Mainly to say, just do what you can. Starting in this volunteer work or just being a part of the city, I never thought that this day would come. I don't think anybody does the work to get the accolades or the recognition to it. It's something that comes a part of it. And it's never too big or too small. White Night Court was 2008. I couldn't even tell you what I was doing or where I was, but I just know that whatever there was in the city, I was a part of it. You may not think I'm a shy person, but I'm quite the shy person. But it's never too big or too small. Don't feel like the work that you do, whether it's going back to baseball or going back to your basketball sports, graduation is fun, and then freshman year of college, it gets real. Don't turn away from your family, turn towards your family, turn towards your friends, turn towards your resources, because they're always there to help.
Congratulations to all the honorees at the head table for their well-deserved recognition today. Please take a moment to read the bio on Sarah Rosler and her accomplishments on behalf of the North Cambridge Little Baseball League. It says that we work closely together, but Sarah's very slick. Her son plays for the Cubs majors that I coach with John Holland and Michael Bennett. And before the game starts, Sarah always has about 8 ideas going for the league. And she would say, well, what about this and this and this? And I, being a little curmudgeon, would say, well, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And she'd walk away. And then after the game, I would see her talking to our president, John Holland. And all of a sudden, those 5 ideas got reshaped a little bit. And John would say, those are great ideas. Let's move on them. So Sarah's pretty good about making sure she could get to the place to help the league, but also get to yes. The North Division, like the other 3 divisions, is very fortunate to have a large number of long-term coaches and volunteers who do tremendous work, and we've been in business for decades. However, in addition, it is important to make sure you have folks like Sarah join you as part of your team. Sarah brings a deep connection with families and friends in our neighborhood to make sure that they know that youth baseball is a fun option for their kids. Remember, not every parent played baseball as a kid, and it may not be a natural choice for their children. Because of her recruitment and outreach efforts, North has seen a significant increase in the number of players in our farm and junior league, which are our introductory programs to baseball. As noted in the bio, Sarah knows every kid's name in those programs and welcomes them as she helps pass out hats and shirts at the first game.
Whether you're a player or a parent or a coach, I'm sure everybody in this room knows what it's like. You come to the end of your sports season and you just don't have a thought in your head anymore, let alone a speech. So your brain is completely empty. You've written 1 million emails. You've answered hundreds of questions about schedules, skill, who's eligible for what program. You've eaten a lifetime's allowance of cheese balls. You've heard Coach Rick Scheingold's stupid new material. You've heard his old freaking material 3 times. You've talked David Cale down from a ledge every day for the last 3 months before you get out of bed. So, as I was saying, you know what it's like to drag yourself across that sports season finish line at the end of your season. And that's the point where you say to yourself, man, I can't wait to do this again next year. That was awesome. And you think, I'm going to start working on stuff tomorrow because I think I know how we can make it even better next year. So a few years ago, I volunteered to be the team parent of the North Cambridge Minor Braves team. But David told me, no, I was not going to do that. Instead, I was the new player agent for North Cambridge baseball. I knew nothing about Little League baseball, and up to that point, I'd pretty successfully dodged all involvement in my kids' school and other activities. But little did I know that becoming an organizer of the NCLBL would bring me so much happiness. It's a joy to know so many kids in my neighborhood, and it's a privilege to watch them grow, both as baseball players and as people.
So I got a text at 10 o'clock at night, Louis, you know that, from Gooch saying, can you just be short and sweet? So I have a few things. It's the old computer. Seriously, look up in your bios. This is about a young man who I got to know during COVID. Phil Rizzuto is a West Cambridge Little League alum. I got to know Phil when he rejoined West Cambridge Little League as the Rockies coach, Farm League coach, minor league in charge, last but not least, vice president of the league. So thank you, Phil. Phil is a true pillar of this community, a beloved teacher, a passionate baseball coach, an ice cream store owner, Lizzie's, as you all know. Now we know why kids love him so much. Just kidding, Phil. His attention to detail is exemplary. I couldn't do a job without him.
Before I became a coach and administrator in the league, I was an assistant coach, an umpire, and a player in West Cambridge. So it's fair to say that West Cambridge baseball has been a big part of my life for a long time. I grew up a sports-obsessed kid in Cambridge, and some of my favorite memories were spent at the baseball diamond and at the hockey rink from my early childhood all through high school. And I know that those moments would not have been possible without the commitment of so many great volunteers who supported me and so many other kids in Cambridge throughout my life and theirs. And the last thing I want to say is to the young athletes in the room right now, and that is that no matter where your careers take you, one of the most rewarding things you can do is to pass your skills, your knowledge, and your passion on to the next generation of athletes. And that's what makes this breakfast possible and what makes Cambridge a special community for sports.
I just wanted to leave, maybe offer three encouraging words to a very talented group of volunteers and young people. The first is for the young people, it's never too early to start volunteering and start coaching. My wife and I got pulled into soccer coaching. For the last 10 years, we've had parents come up to us on the sideline and say, hey, which one of those is yours? And we don't have kids in the program. And they're like, why are you here? And we're like, we really like soccer, and we think middle schoolers are hilarious. So I would just encourage the young people, whenever you get your shot, go out there and start coaching. My encouragement for all the experienced coaches and volunteers in the room is when you see a brand new volunteer, take a moment to give them a word of encouragement. My very first year, I showed up to the soccer training wide-eyed, not knowing what it would be like to work with middle schoolers, and I just had one of the experienced coaches come up to me. He asked me maybe like a half dozen questions, and then was like, hey, based on those answers, you're all set. You're going to be fine. Think of these two things as you head into your season, and it just gave me the confidence I needed. So if you've been coaching for a long time, I ask you to turn around and help that next generation of folks step in. And if you do happen to find your passion, I would encourage you to commit and keep showing up.
I think I just have to start with how much I love this city. Getting to grow up in Cambridge isn't something that I understood how big a deal that was until I left and I realized how unique a place this really is. So for the last 20 plus years, I've had the opportunity to volunteer first under Lance and then under Gio in terms of the Cambridge boys basketball family. And a lot of teams throw out that word family at the ends. But it's different in Cambridge. It's the idea of the relationships that we've formed and created and fostered that are going to be there for the rest of our lives. And just the idea of, I think there's 10 or 15 of our former players here at breakfast. I really hope I didn't miss anybody coming in, but from Aiden and DeAndre and John and Sean and Harrison, and then our current crop and graduating seniors in terms of Isaiah and Zayden and Jeff, and Nick, who participated in Cambridge basketball as well, and Aiden. And I really think I got everyone. If not, be mad at me later, I deserve it. But just the idea of the relationships, and I hope each one of you know that anywhere you go in life, we're a phone call away. We're a text message away. Whatever you need, that's what Cambridge basketball is about. And it's one of the reasons I feel so fortunate to have been able to be a part of this program for so long. The last thing I want to say is to my son, who's here, who's a week shy of his 7th birthday. You inspire me by the energy that you bring every day, and I'm just so appreciative of getting to be your father, and I love you.
St. Peter's CYO basketball is a major part of the winter sports scene here in Cambridge. My dad ran the program for 20 years. The last few years of my dad's life, it was a lot harder for him to run it. He had a lot going on with his health. And this guy stepped in. he really, and this is the best comment that I can give anyone, he really was just like my dad. Always had a smile on his face, never complained about anything, did anything you asked. We were so lucky to have him in our parish and in our community. So Jim, thank you. Congratulations.
My wife and I moved to West Cambridge when we had our son Matthew, and we didn't know a lot of people in the area, and met a neighbor named John Lodge, and he's like, whatever you do, you got to do West Cambridge baseball. And he was so right. From there, we've met a lot of the families I see here today, and I met the Hoff family. Matthew's first coach in farm was Ted Hoff, and Ted was a very special person that we all got a lot of, positive energy from. It's a special community, and I say thank you to West Cambridge Little League for getting me involved and doing what you've done for my family. And all I can say is thank you very much.
When my dad moved here from Philadelphia like 25 or so years ago, just like Jim over here said, he didn't really know many people and stepped into a new world. But looking across this room today and seeing so many familiar faces just like makes me so appreciative of the job he's done and the connections he's made and the opportunity he gave me to live in this awesome, beautiful city with all these wonderful people. My dad met most of the people that I know today through Cambridge Youth Sports. I think it's awesome that we take a moment to appreciate the ability that youth sports in Cambridge has to bring us together. Thank you. One more thing, sorry. When my dad passed in November, a lot of people have tried to reach out, and everyone's done so awesome in helping me through like a really tough time. But one person I wanted to thank in specific was Mike Hoff. Mike Hoff lost his dad in the summer as well. And he's been an awesome mentor to me. He went through it all before I did, but we're both still in the same process together. It's been within a year. He took me to play baseball every Tuesday morning and Saturday mornings at the MIT gym, and made me just such a better baseball player, but in general a better person, and helped me through a time that I really wouldn't wish on anybody. So Mike, thank you so much.
Seeing everybody here, hearing all your voices, hearing all your stories is a testament to a city that does keep people lifted up no matter what. And I just want to thank all of you for keeping my baby lifted up during a very, very difficult time. I feel very blessed that we are here in Cambridge, that Mike found Cambridge and brought us to it. And just thank you. Thank you.
When I would visit kids when I was mayor, and young people would think that the road to any kind of success is perfect or easy and like you've always been successful, I guarantee you my road has not been perfect. Made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of setbacks, tried to get back up, reached out to people who could get me back up. Don't assume when you see someone that you think has achieved something that they didn't get knocked in the face or haven't been knocked down, because I'm going to promise you they have. So you're hearing today is what can lift us back up as community. You guys know my mom. When we were at Hickey Funeral Home when my father died, and I was 11, like all I wanted was, can you give the money in memoriam to West Cambridge Little League? I was in a fog, and somebody came through the line and said, I want you to know you're the man of the house. And my mother said, Anthony, we're going to go downstairs for a minute. She denies that this happened. It happened. We went downstairs in Hickey Funeral Home, and she said, you're not the man of this house. I am. And when these things happen, the one thing I try to say is like, let's just try to let that kid keep being a kid, and let's support them and being a kid and enjoying their childhood. Layla Muhammad, Nyla Colazo, Jeffrey White, Janae Williams, Merhawi Hagdu. Oh, my favorite. Will Senchi Francois, Zayden Whitehead, Caesar, Damian Gonzalez, and Di Pasquale Awards, Shea Santos, and Nick Hunt.